Good evening, everyone. I'd like to reconvene the Thursday, October 13th, 2022 Roanoke County School Board meeting. Mr. Hudson, would you read us out of closed session, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Roanoke County School Board come out of closed session for the following: to discuss ongoing personnel matters under investigation pursuant to personnel exemption at 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia, and to discuss the investigation of a student matter pursuant to the scholastic record exemption at 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia. Also move to certify to the best of each member's knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the school board.
Second.
A motion and a second, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Johnny.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ray.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Item number 2.03, action from closed session. Mr. Ray?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve students 2022 to 2023, numbers 17 through 27, for religious exemption from Roanoke County Public Schools.
A motion and a second, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Johnny.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ray.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linder.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Again, welcome, everybody. It's nice to see so many people here. We've got a lot of exciting things on the agenda tonight. For those late arrivers, we do have an overflow room that has been set up in the main hallway there. If there's not a seat available in here, there is the overflow room. So with that, if everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Item number 4, announcement of changes in the agenda. Dr. Nicely, anything?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Johnny.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ray.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linder.
Yes, ma'am. Item number 5, presentations and recognitions. We're going to start with 5.01, recognition of Northside Middle School teachers named National Educators of the Year by the Association for Middle School Level Education. Dr. Lenneberg, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nicely. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to present Amber Benson and Ruby Voss to you, recipients of the National Educator of the Year Award by the Association for Middle Level Education. And I want to thank members of the board first for coming out when we announced this, and members of Central Office a couple weeks ago, so we really appreciate that. And so we'll start here. I have a shortened version of the video that some of you guys saw at the last meeting. This was what will be shown in Orlando, November 3rd through 5th. We're going to the national conference, the AMLE National Conference, where Ruby and Amber will receive their award, and they will also be presenting at the conference. So I'm going to show you the video that a national audience of middle school educators will see in Orlando at the beginning of November.
So we do what we think is super genuine co-teaching, in that we actually do everything together.
For me, when I think of Ruby and Amber, probably their greatest asset is how they build a family atmosphere in their classroom. It's truly remarkable.
I remember the year before I was failing math. Ms. Voss and Ms. Benson's class, it just really helped me understand math, and it was very enjoyable.
They make sure that the children in the classroom know that they are a team. I mean, they will come to school dressed alike or dressed in costumes.
They kind of feed off of each other.
They feed off each other.
If you go in their classroom, you're like, which one's the math teacher? Which one's the SPED teacher? Because they work with each other, for each other, alongside each other. I mean, it's beauty in motion, truly.
it's hard to know where Amber and Ruby are every day. You take your kids around the building and utilize the building for instructional purposes, from things they do on the sidewalk outside to coming into the office and finding angles.
When I think of teachers who are fully committed to and understand and embrace what it means to work with young adolescents, they are just the superstar team.
Throughout that 8th grade year, you see this change in the students.
We take a special opportunity in 8th grade to say, all right, guys, we're at that fork in the road. And if you have always been the person you want to be, doing great in school and everything, let's just keep you going. We're going to give you the tools to keep going. But if you haven't, if you're ready to change your direction, we're going to interrupt things and we're going to change that direction for you so that when you go to high school, you are the best you can be.
When you see them, it's not just, kind of a polite, hey, how's so-and-so doing? They're generally interested in how their kids are doing, how they're continuing to progress.
I mean, it's not about just passing the SOL test. And don't get me wrong, those ladies are way beyond an SOL. They're preparing them for algebra. They're preparing them for geometry. They're preparing them for life.
That we've all heard is, you may not be able to teach them every day, but you can love them every day. Love them, love them, love them, and you will be able to teach them.
You've done so much for me that I don't really know how to pay you back in any type of way.
I'm so glad to be a part of your school, ladies. Glad to be a part of your school, and thank you for working with us and all the things that you do in our building for our kids. And we love you.
But this is the one.
It's important term.
Important term.
Yes,
Good thing we don't teach English.
that's right. We don't teach English. We teach Spanish.
So taking
Oh, we don't teach Spanish either. We teach math.
To say that we're proud of Ruby and Amber is an understatement. Representing Northside Middle School and Roanoke County Schools on the national stage, the work is commendable. They're extremely hard workers, and just everything they do is truly remarkable. So I'm proud to present to you tonight Amber Benson and Ruby Voss.
Very exciting to see you guys get that award, and I know you're looking forward to going down to Orlando and get the recognition you deserve for the Northside community. It's just a great example of teamwork and the collaboration, making kids want to get out of bed. And math is not for everybody, obviously, but you guys have made math fun, and I know that I've heard great things there in the Northside community about it. So just very proud and pleased of the work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Mr. Green?
Well, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll echo those sentiments. It's wonderful for us to have recognitions like this. We don't get these very, very often at all. So, on a national level. So thank y'all for what you do and what you mean to that community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Fashani?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, well, first of all, congratulations again. The ceremony at Northside was amazing. You said something in your slide that I thought was just remarkable. You might not be able to teach them every day, but you can love them every day. And if you love them, they'll learn. And that's exactly what you guys are doing, and that's why you're so successful. I had a teacher in 7th grade that believed in me. It was because of her that I feel like I got to where I am today. She didn't believe in me. I just don't know where I would have been. And so you guys are that for so many students, and I thank you.
Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, we saw the full version of the video, and it was like you're a team, so much a team, one will start our sentence and the other one will end it. And y'all are just it's just amazing how you work together and what you've accomplished, what you've gotten out of the students, just like the students said. They were failing. And you made it fun, and I think that's where the difference is. When you can make it fun for them to learn, then you've accomplished. And good luck, and thank you for representing Roanoke County.
Mr. Hudson?
Congratulations and well-deserved. I actually ran into a former student's parent of yours the other day, and they bragged about you. They saw the award, and they said how their child had struggled through math, and the ability that you had to make it fun and just engaging really made a difference for their child, and they haven't had a problem with math since. So you're doing a great job, and we're fortunate to have you both. Thank you.
Thank you
all
very
of you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Item number 5.02, recognition of October 10th through the 14th as National School Lunch Week. Ms. Rhonda Huffman, welcome.
Normally I get here and speak about how serious things are because of which school lunch is very serious, as you all know. But this year, National School Lunch Week the theme for National School Lunch Week was so fun and exciting, and it was just, if you ever get time to go on our web page and look at some of the pictures that the ladies have done in their schools and put up decorations. And of course, you know, we can't take pictures of the children out there, of course, but the children got to participate in a lot of things that were going on. And Chuck, are you getting ready to pull it up? That's lovely. Thank you, Chuck. But it was fun because this was just kind of the theme of it this year, feeling groovy. The 60s were a fun time. Everybody got to do a lot of fun things. Oh, excuse me. But I'm just here to let you know that we've had a wonderful time this week. And of course, it was supposed to go till tomorrow, but we're going to extend it till Monday. So if you all get a chance and want to stop in and say hi, that's great. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some interesting facts. I believe this was on the board docs, that President John F. Kennedy in 1962 recognized, he created the National School Lunch Week. So, you know, to have that honor, that's pretty good. It's the annual observance. It usually is the second week in October. And the importance of school lunch, even though the National School Lunch Week was declared in 1962, the National School Lunch Program goes back even further back to 1946. So President Harry S. Truman signed the National School Lunch Act on June the 4th, 1946. So we've been around a long time. And the reason why people might find this interesting, because it is a lot of history, legislation came in response to claims that the American men had been rejected for World War II military service because of diet-related health problems. They weren't physically able to serve in the war. So the Federally Assisted Meal Program was established as a measure of national security to safeguard the health and well-being of the nation's children and to encourage the domestic consumption of nutritious agricultural commodities. So that's a huge responsibility, and I'm glad to see that, you know, that there was a big part of that. And there's just a few fun facts, because I went to look and see, because candy, what is there about candy that's not fun? Really? And what do kids like? They like candy. Now, we're promoting a healthy program, but kids do get candy sometimes. But in 1962, which was when lemon heads were, that was the popular thing. That was when it was invented, so to speak. Now and Later's was another one that was, and then of course Starburst came out in 1960 and Sweet Tarts in 1963. So you don't realize how old these candies are, but they are. The most favorite cookie was Chips Ahoy, 1963. And of course, we had to put the healthy food in there for goldfish crackers, which we serve a lot every day, 1962. So that's when they came to America. So we're just really happy to be a part of having fun, but being serious in the same aspect. So we just wanted to let you know that that's what's been going on this week. And we thank you for your time, and we appreciate you so much. And we're there. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you
Ms.
for our
Huffman.
goodies.
Ms. Huffman, I just want to say a couple things. First, it was neat to see everybody dressed up as hippies this morning when I stopped by the schools. It was neat. And also, you have some great people. I enjoy talking to them when I go through our schools. Crystal, Floyd out at Glenver High School, and everybody, all the schools that we have. They do a great job. I love stopping in and talking with them. And my kids eat school lunch. I can't say enough about it. Thank you for everything.
I appreciate that. I'll just give a little history for you. One of the ladies at Glenver High School, she's been in the school nutrition program with Roanoke County for 49 years. Miss Yacht.
Is that Shirley?
Brenda Yacht.
Brenda? Oh, I know
Brenda
exactly.
Yacht.
Yes, I went to church with her years ago. Mhm.
Yep, Brenda Yacht. She was a mentor to me when I first started, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it hadn't been for her. But to think about people being there for 49 years is just amazing.
That's great.
But thank you, we appreciate that.
Absolutely. You guys are doing an excellent job.
Fantastic.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Ray?
Yeah, Ms. Huffman, I was there last week at some of the schools during lunchtime, and it's quite a chaotic time, but everybody had, they were all organized, and they were getting them through the lines. And, they had such a cheerful attitude. It wasn't like that, hey, I got to do this or that. They're very cheerful, and it was just everywhere I went, it was the same. People, they were excited to see the kids and coming through, so, and thank you I will eat sweets, so thank you.
You're very welcome. I was not trying to corrupt you with his sweets, but I just thought something fun. Yes, thank you very much. I have worked out in the schools already this year, and, getting started back to normal, so to speak, this year. We didn't know what to expect, but it has been wonderful. The students that I have worked with, even serving at the high school, Williamsburg High School, I served there with one of the staff members there. Every student that came through that lunch line was absolutely so polite and so kind. And I was just so impressed, and they do a good job. So I just wanted to say that because it was very impressive. But I've worked in several schools, and every one of them are happy to be back, and every one of them love what they do.
We appreciate everything you
Thank
do.
you. Thank
you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all have a good evening.
Item number 5.03, our program spotlight tonight, the Boys and Girls Club, Miss Beth Grimm and Miss Michelle Davis. Welcome.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Nicely. It hasn't been that long since I've been here to talk about the Boys and Girls Club, and Michelle's here, and she's going to provide a wealth of information for you, but she'll provide that information. I just want you to focus a little bit on the practical aspect of it, which you can't see unless you see it in action. The program really is so much more than supervision. It is a group of professionals providing wraparound services for children. There is tutoring, there is homework help, there is the feeding aspect of it, there is activities, there is guest speakers, there is field trips, there is communication skills, there's behavior management. It really is such a solid program. I walk the halls after school every day, and I've never heard a harsh word, and I've never heard anyone raise their voice. And kids can be rowdy, especially after school, and you need to let kids be kids, and they allow for that. But they also feel the time. They're just not idly sitting. They're being challenged to better themselves in a variety of ways, and it just really warms my heart every day when I walk by and see them so fully involved in a variety of aspects, and they're happy to be there. I love to hear the laughter when I walk by and see them after school. So with no further ado, I will introduce the dynamic Michelle Davis, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Virginia, the youth development organization that serves 1,100 youth in 11 locations throughout Roanoke County, Salem, Roanoke City, Montgomery County, and Franklin County. Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Virginia has been in operation for 25 years and serves youth in after-school programs and summer programs. The core programming at Boys and Girls Club includes 3 pillars: academic support, healthy lifestyles, and good citizenship, and building character for youth ages 5 through 18. Michelle lives with her 9-year-old daughter, Elsa, her husband, Adam, in Roanoke County, and has been the CEO of Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Virginia for almost 6 years. Michelle?
Welcome, Ms. Davis.
Hello, thank you all so much. I appreciate having the opportunity to be here today. Thank you so much, Superintendent. This is such an opportunity, and really, I don't know that I have any more to say. I think that Ms. Grimm just said everything. So what I have for you is some really cheerful photos. Let's see if I know how to do this. Check. Am I gonna hit the right button? Oh, I did it. Okay. So, Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Virginia, as you guys know, in Roanoke County, serves Burlington Elementary School, W.E. Cundiff, and Herman L. Horn. Our W.E. Cundiff and Herman L. Horn locations are at Vinton Baptist Church. I also want you all to know, for those who don't, I am a proud Roanoke County graduate, a graduate of Cave Spring High School. So it is awesome for me to be doing this work back here in my hometown with our kids in Roanoke County Schools. So thank you guys for the opportunity. We started during COVID. No one knew what was going to happen, where we were going. All we knew was that we had to do something for our kids. There was, the bat signal went out. Who can do this? Who can step up? And we were really proud to be able to answer the call and to come in and work with just a small group of kids when we started. I think, Mr. Greenway, what did we say? Maybe 4 kids, 5 kids. I'm so proud today to show you these photos and to show you where we're at. As you guys may know, our sites in Roanoke County are funded through 21st Century grants. I just want to bring that to your attention. We are applying for these grants. We write them in-house. I need to acknowledge Rebecca Meadows, who's here today. She is my right-hand woman at Boys and Girls Club, and she personally writes our 21st Century grants. No, she is not available for hire. She is really good at her job. I am so grateful for her, and we are proud to be able to bring 3 years' worth of funding into the county school system in order to provide these services at no cost to families. So thank you guys for the partnership. Our current locations, Vinton Baptist Church, we have 42 registered club members. Burlington, we have 40 registered club members. And I also want you all to know we have some Roanoke County students who actually come to our 9th Street Roanoke City location as well. Parents or grandparents pick them up from school and actually bring them to Southeast. Let's see, brief history and timeline. I just want to show you that over our 25 years, our Roanoke and Salem clubs opened in 2021, our most recent iteration. We had a Bonsack club at one point. Most of our clubs, when they open, if we have the opportunity to fund them any way possible, we're going to make that opportunity available to our kids. This is our 21st Century grant-funded clubs, and we hope to keep them open as long as possible. Our mission to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. Ms. Grimm and I were talking as we were waiting for the meeting to start, and she mentioned I have a 4th grader. What we are really shocked about coming out of COVID is how our students don't know how to be students. Students who missed those formative elementary school years at home really don't understand what it means to be in a classroom, what it means to sit next to their friends at a table in the cafeteria. My daughter does not actually understand how her grades are calculated, why quizzes lead to tests, lead to grades. So please know that we are here, Boys and Girls Club is here in support of your teachers, and we're really proud of the work we can do to help get our kids back on track. Our vision, I'm not going to read this to you again. we're really just here for the photos. All of these kids are either Burlington or at our Renton Baptist site. Organizational overview here. We do serve in 5 school districts, and you'll see our current club locations: Roanoke City, Montgomery County, Franklin County, Roanoke County, and Salem. What sets us apart is our impact. We really truly believe that youth development is a profession. It is something that deserves full recognition, and we want to make sure that we can provide this service to as many kids as possible. We want to partner with the school system. We want to extend the school day when we can to make sure that we're providing that additional support to your teachers. Our core program areas, which Ms. Grimm mentioned: academic support, healthy lifestyles, character and leadership development. You'll see here some of our students. We have Students of the Week at our Vinton Baptist Church site. These Students of the Week have done excellent. They've brought their grades up. They're working hard. Project Learn, we do at every single one of our club sites after school. We do Power Hour every single day across all of our sites, elementary, middle, and high school. Whether you have homework or not, you are going to do homework for an hour every day after school. And for our parents, that means that your kids are coming home with their homework done, and hopefully they have had somebody sitting there with them doing it. If they needed that extra support, we've brought in teachers as tutors into that program, and those teachers are the connection into the after-school day. Our Healthy Lifestyles program, you'll see here, we love a good club garden where we're teaching our kids how to grow their own food. We have a yoga class photo over here as well. Really teaching our kids to be playful, learning new activities, and helping them stay active is a core part of our programming also. Character and leadership development, I don't think that can be underestimated in today's day and age. All of these photos are actually businesses that have come in. You see we've got the rail yard dogs. We have a vet clinic that's come in, really teaching our kids about their community, giving them hope, insight into opportunity that may be available right in their backyard as they continue to grow. Oh, I skipped one. These are some photos. We do field trips. We also do parent nights, and I think that's so critically important. We bring our parents in at least once a month. Once a month, Rebecca. All of our sites are a little different, but for the most, we've tried and get them in once a month, and sometimes we'll even say that we trick them. We tell them, come on in for a meal, and hey, while you're here, these are the other things that we need you to know. Come on in for a talent show. That'll get your kids in. That'll get your parents in. What can we do to engage with parents on that level where they know our staff know them? So we love to have our parents coming in and participating in our program as well, and really creating that wraparound service that Ms. Grimm talked about. These are just some quick facts. I'm not going to go through them, but please know that we measure our impact with data. I have that data available, and we are constantly looking at student grades. We're looking at their attendance at school. We're looking at a lot of different factors, including their behavioral outcomes, to make sure that the programs that we're providing are working for our students. Last slide here is a recruitment tool for me. I'm just asking anyone who has any interest to please come on out and volunteer. We love having volunteers in our club. We love having folks come out and read to our kids. If you have a skill, whether it's in math, science, art, dance, writing, we love to have folks who are going to come out and participate in our club after school. Our Project Angel Tree is taking place right now. We collect a gift for each of our kids. We want to make sure that we're able to celebrate the holidays. We also have opportunities like one-day projects, field trips, chaperones. Our summer programs are really when we pack in the field trips. So we operate during the summer all-day programming, 4 or 5 days a week, depending on the location. And again, at little to no cost for our families, providing our youth with opportunities to go on field trips. We have aquariums, zoos, everything we can do to get them out. And of course, this summer it was so important coming out of COVID. So here's your final photo. We've got aquariums up here. We've got the Children's Museum. And this is just a thank you. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you for your partnership. I truly feel in Roanoke County that it is a true and genuine partnership, which is so important for the success of these programs. We will continue to seek funding for these programs to try and provide this at no cost for your families in Roanoke County. And we really look forward to seeing what these outcomes look like in real life with these kids. So thank you all so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Wonderful presentation. And I remember being in that meeting at the early on in COVID, and your willingness to step up and help some of those families that really needed help at that time. And pictures are worth 1,000 words,
Yes, sir.
and those are some great pictures to see how it has grown from its infancy to where it is now. And we
Thank you.
really appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Mr. Greenway?
Absolutely. We thank you, Michelle. So not much good came out of COVID, right? But through those infant weeks and months that we went through, we realized that we had to come up with a plan for our kids that, for the working families and for families that needed a little help with the children. And this is, just an awesome program and where it's grown to, because when we started, I was a little frustrated because I know that our Vinton families need this program and want this program, and, the most at-risk kids need, this is unbelievably, I can't say it enough, how much this is needed. So, and we didn't get but, 4, 5, 6 kids,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, But I think it's like a business, it takes a year, and then a year, those kids tell other kids, and then those kids tell other, our families and tell families. And so now we're at like 40-some kids at Vinton Baptist and 40 at Burlington. And I know when I went to see Julie and Ashley that Julie told me she had to cut hers off at 22 because we don't have the volunteer, we don't have, not volunteers, but the folks that.
The staff.
Yeah, we just don't have staff for the program. And so then Cundiff is a time and a half, or about half as big again, or maybe not quite that, but close. So, I think, I just can't thank you enough, and for the staff and the people and Ms. Grimm and everybody that's a part of this program. I don't know if you can, you've got the data, but I don't know if you can truly measure, the effect of until later years.
Yes, sir.
And hear testimonials. So this is an amazing program. We thank you for stepping up to the plate. And there were some other folks that came to but I think you've took the bull by the horns, and we've got, quantifiable, quantitative, we've got
Yes.
it all. We can see it, and that's 80 kids. And I'll bet there's another 160 to 240 kids that would benefit from this program, and I hope it keeps growing, and I hope we can keep staffing it. And if we need to help with whatever funding mechanisms need to be promoted, or, if the schools need to kick in to help, and, you got one board member, and I'm sure the others that will absolutely jump in and do whatever we got to do.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. You are correct. Staffing is our number one issue. I know we all are facing it. We are no different. One of my big success stories, though, from the summer is that we started recruiting former club kids, specifically targeting former club kids. And at your Burlington site, we have a former club kid who's working for you. Both Rebecca and I were at both Vinton Baptist and Burlington this afternoon we're celebrating our 25th anniversary with the kids, throwing birthday parties. And so we were there at both of your sites this afternoon, and it's so wonderful to see the staff. We do feel as if we are growing our staff. They are stable, so we'll be able to open up the wait lists very soon. Rebecca has to give the final okay on that, but I have been pushing hard. We know we have more kids who need the service, and we are ready to serve. So thank you.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shawnee?
Yeah, so quick question. When is your next fundraiser? Because I think you should plug that.
Thank you. I do appreciate the question. And actually, I hope everybody will attend. So there is no cost to attend our next fundraiser. It's going to be on November 29th. That's Giving Tuesday. And it's going to be at the Grandin Theater. We are showing a film. We're having actually a film made. If a picture, says 1,000 words, you can only imagine what the videos of these kids, and actually getting to meet some of them in person, will do for you. So please, I encourage you all to please come out and attend. As I said, there is no cost. We don't do tickets. We do ask for donations while you're there, but I just would love for you all to be able to see in real life the activities and the work that the staff does, because they are really incredible.
So say that date one more time.
November 29th.
Okay.
And we actually have 2 showings. So you have a lunch option and you have an evening option. And if you go to our website, just Google us, Boys and Girls Club, your opportunity to enroll and register for that fundraiser will be right there on the homepage. Good. All right.
Well, I have to say that I think it's very rare that an organization checks all the boxes. And you guys do all that. You hit all the targets. You wrap around these kids from parents to the community to student, and it doesn't always happen that way. People have intentions, but it doesn't always get done, and I know you guys do that. You get the job done. The services that you offer are dynamic, and they're constantly growing, constantly moving. And Tim, I didn't realize it was 40. How many students did you start with?
Four.
Four.
I think we had 4.
And now you're up to over 1,100, I think you said?
That's total across the entire organization.
Right,
We're
that
up
you
to,
serve.
we have 80 in Roanoke County, so from 4 to 80 would be that measurement, that
Incredible.
growth.
Well, thank you for all you do. I respect your organization and you just incredibly much.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Ray?
Yeah, Michelle,
Yes, sir.
you know, when we were here desperately thinking about COVID times and what were the parents going to do, they didn't have, they weren't able to stay home. They had to work, and you came in, you gave us a solution, you stepped in. I'll never forget you. You can talk pretty fast, and you talked fast and told us a lot of information at that time. And certainly, I know when I was at Norfolk Southern, I know we had several on the board with Boys and Girls Club, and we supported Boys and Girls Club as well. So, but what you did for us, you came in and you saved the time when we needed it the worst. So, and it was all over. It wasn't just certain areas. You were taking families from anywhere. So, thank you, Michelle.
I appreciate that, and I just want to say that was not me. I know you know that. It was absolutely our staff who were willing. Rebecca has worked for us for 11 years, and she never says no. Again, except unless you're asking her to write 21st century grants, I will make sure she says no. But no, she is the one who, it's whatever it takes, and it's the staff who say whatever it takes, who made all of that
Rebecca
happen.
back there?
She's waving. She's shy.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah. So it is. I mean, we just have a tremendous team. We've got Calvin Curry on our staff as well, who also has been with us 11 years. Actually, all of my staff have been there longer than I have. So they are doing something right and really are passionate about the work that we do. So it's all kudos to them.
And Mr. Hudson?
Thank you for what you do. The programs are awesome. To see the kids smiling in the pictures and to see how passionate you are. You talk about your staff, but it's easy to see that your passion for this and to go from 4 to 80 is amazing. You're serving the community in a great spot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Chairman, one quick, do we have any Mount Pleasant kids that come into the Benton program?
I don't know addresses. I don't believe we do. We're busing directly from W.E. Cundiff and Herman L. Horn. I don't believe we have any Mount Pleasant right
Is
now.
that something and I don't know how we do it, can we touch base and see if they may want to bus some kids up?
Sir, with the 21st Century Grant, we're going to be limited. We might have an opportunity to get them into the 9th Street site. With the 21st Century, you know how the state is with their 21st Century funding. We are very limited into how that money can be spent, but I will touch base. I have your phone number, sir. I will touch base.
Because if I have to help or do something, we'll figure it out.
Yes, sir.
And last, Angela, can we get that on our calendar for the fundraiser? Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you all so much. I look
Thank
forward
you,
to
Ms.
seeing
Davis.
you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our final presentation and recognition, 5.04. Our school spotlight tonight is the Burton Center for Arts and Technology. Mr. Riley.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nicely, first of all, we just want to thank you for the opportunity to, at every board meeting, bring a school in and be able to showcase some of the amazing things that our students and teachers are doing across the division. Tonight, we're very excited to be able to spotlight the Burton Center for Arts and Technology. At this time, I'll turn things over to their principal, Mr. Christian Kish.
Welcome, Mr. Kish.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nicely. It's my pleasure to be here. I love the timing of our presence tonight because we have just gotten done with our huge recruitment push. We had almost 1,000 eighth graders on our campus last Wednesday through Friday, and then had our open house on Tuesday. So my staff is tired. And the staff that are here, I'm very grateful for that. And the students that are here, I'm really excited about what we're gonna show you. I also wanted to point something out. I noticed walking in the room that we have students that are here that are also Burton students. So if you are here, not as a part of this group, but are a Burton student, would you raise your hand? So I see that we're represented in several areas. And another thing that I thought was neat, if you are a parent of a child that attends or has ever attended Burton, raise your hand. Got McClung, Chuck Lyon, yeah, there we go. So we're pretty well represented here in a lot of ways. So I think that's really neat. Our school slogan is One Burton, Infinite Possibilities. And I wanted to take advantage of one of our centers, our Center for Mass Communication. And I tasked a few students for telling a story about how we really do live and try to accomplish what our slogan is. Whoops, I skipped it. There we go. Did I do something wrong, Chuck? Okay.
Hi, I'm Elise Legault, and my name is Claire Henritzi. We are seniors at Cave Spring High School, and we are in the Mass Communications program here at Burton. Mr. Kish, the principal, asked us to make a video to show you guys how cool Burton Center for Arts and Technology truly is. We are so excited to share it with you. Here we go!
One Burton Infinite Possibilities speaks to the fact that we are one campus with so many different programs, so many different students from so many different base schools pursuing their interests and their passions. So while we are a unified campus, there are infinite possibilities for what could occur.
I think infinite possibilities means everyone here is just willing to see you succeed in anything you want to go into. I mean, there's such a community for creating and visual learning and everything that just really speaks to how much they want you to succeed here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a school where, everyone wants to be here. They chose to come to the school. It's not like something they have to require to do. It's everyone's trying to get better and pursue their own goals here. And it's really cool atmosphere to be around.
We love Burton because we get to come here every other day and do art for 3 hours and listen to music and just be with each other.
Well, another good thing about Burton is that it brings different schools together and you can meet new people and make new friends. And it teaches you how to work together.
Yeah.
They have a year and a half of learning skills with mannequins and talking through it, but then they get to put it in action and get to experience what they may want to do in the future.
It almost feels like you're being walked through it. It feels like a more professional environment as well. It feels like you're really getting that first-hand experience rather than just being in a class, sitting and taking notes. I think the big draw to Burton is the fact that you're learning so much and having fun while doing so, which is I think especially for kids, younger kids like us, it's kind of the perfect blend.
If anyone is considering trying Burton, then they should definitely just do it for a year and see how they like it.
Pretty neat. I do want to point out and give kudos to another student that helped with that, Justin Patrick, who is William Byrd's top terrier, right? Did some of the cool shots, including that really neat drone shot at the beginning. So he contributed to that as well. School board members, in front of you, I placed this document just for your perusal. This is our foundational document, our core document. And it's my hope tonight that when you look at this and you hear our students and staff that are about to talk, that you see that we really do strive to meet our mission, our vision, our values, and beliefs, as well as our goals. Tonight, I've brought a few students and staff. Mr. Brennan Metz, you recognize him from being over in that corner. He also serves as the student representative for General Advisory Council. I brought Mr. Eric Sala, who is our director for the Center of Mass Communications, Mr. Miles Morton, who is an energetic student that is at Burton 6 out of the 8 instructional blocks. So he's with us every day, A1 or A-day mornings, B-day mornings, and B-day afternoons. Mr. Mike French, who is our computer information technology and networking teacher, and Nelson, who has taken 3 years of building trades and is now doing 1 year of EMT and masonry. Miss Mara Puffco, who is our Jobs for Virginia Graduates coordinator, as well as our ISAEP coordinator. Mr. Jason Cox, who is in his 4th and final year in our Center for Performing Arts, and then Ms. Fisher, who is our assistant principal, will wrap us up.
Firstly, I want to say hello to the board and everyone watching. My name is Brennan Metz. I've been a member of Burton's Mass Communications program for 3 years now, which is crazy to think. You know, it was a long time since 8th grade since I first applied. Mass Comm is so unique to me because of the variety of things that you do in the program. For example, you learn to operate camera equipment. You can do things like Photoshop, video editing, and public speaking. So these are all very important things to know in the modern era of media production. And with all of these things in one class, you're given a lot of unique opportunities. One of the most notable things you can accomplish through this medium is tell stories. Our 2 most recent units included a podcast and a mini documentary. For example, my podcast was about my uncle who spent some time in Ukraine over the summer, and my mini documentary was about the Hidden Valley High School yearbook, which I'm also a part of. And I was able to talk about the workload of the book and everything and things like that, because unique opportunities like these are kind of what makes Mass Comm so special at Burton. Adding opportunities like this to Mrs. Chapman's English class at Burton make Mass Comm a no-brainer for anyone interested in kind of an accelerated English education up there. You know, they often intersect a lot of the stuff we do in class, and it's very interesting to see how that works sometimes. I hope anyone watching who is interested in joining Mass Comm at Burton does so. The second you walk into the room, you feel like you're a part of that Burton family that they have there. And that kind of goes for my main points here. I just wanted to say to all of you, thank you so much for having us here. We're so lucky to have everyone at Burton. It's such a great thing to be a part of. And I'm glad that Mass Comm is able to be here and operate and obviously do such great work like we saw just now. Thank you all very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys for the recognition this evening. I'm Eric Salo, the director of the Center for Mass Communication. On the document that Mr. Kish gave you all, our vision and mission talks a lot about our citizenship for our students, their success, and their future. So I'm going to take a moment to tell you about some of those successes from our current students and our graduates in the Specialty Center for Mass Communication. So our current students, I'll start with that right now. For numerous years, our students have been interns and also employed by the Salem Red Sox and the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs in video production and their marketing departments. One of our seniors was just hired as a social media manager for a local boutique after managing some nonprofit social media as part of her internship. We have a student who's driven to sports broadcasting. He started calling Cave Spring athletic events as a freshman. He continues to do so. He also interns on Greg Roberts Live Sports Talk Radio in the afternoons, and he's paid on the weekends to run the audio board while he listens to pro and college football games and learns from the pros, through his ears there. Some of our graduates who are in college we're real proud of too. A number of them are working for both the Virginia Tech Athletic Video Department and the JMU Athletic Video Department, earning scholarships and paychecks. Two are also working at JMU as media specialists, managing their social media and creating graphics. Some alumni who've moved on to the professional world and work locally at Access Advertising and Public Relations, Anstey Hodge Advertising Group, Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge, AEP, and for Botetourt County in communication and marketing. We had an alumni who worked for Channel 7 as a multimedia journalist, and he has recently moved on to be the Chuck Lionberger of Madison County Public Schools. So other alumni working regionally and nationally in communication industries will wrap us up here. For the PGA Tour, Disney, ESPN, Cartoon Network, the Arizona Cardinals football team. We have alumni working in Charlottesville, Richmond, Charlotte, Asheville, Charleston, Denver, Jacksonville, Austin, and Houston, Texas. Numerous students working in New York City and in the Los Angeles film industry. So we're just real proud of these people. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty then. Greetings. My name is Miles Morton. As mentioned previously, I am a third year in the Burton Center for Engineering and a second year in building trades. And I'm just going to be briefly covering all that I learned. Starting off with engineering. Now, as a freshman in engineering, we began by learning about general engineering careers in order to give us a better idea of what we wanted to pursue in college and beyond. We also learned basic CAD design as well as machining skills. Now, during our second year, we covered some foundations of coding through a program known as Alice, and we also participated in various projects in order to improve our problem-solving and design abilities. Now in my third year, I have been learning the basics of a software known as MATLAB, and we will also be covering resume writing and presenting and other such skills of that nature. Then there's building trades. Now in building trades during our first year, the first thing we start off learning is the basics of carpentry, plumbing, and electrical. And in my case, because due to my aspirations to become a structural engineer, I was actually put in charge of various different small groups during projects, and I served as a manager to some extent in order to improve my leadership skills. Beyond that, I was also given an opportunity to utilize the CAD skills I developed in engineering for actual construction design and in things that were actually built. Now this year, I have had the unique experience of serving as a project manager for a class of freshmen, which has not only allowed me to continue to develop my leadership skills, but it has also forced me to exercise patience and a certain degree, yes, and a certain degree of authority when working with others. And ultimately, I can say with confidence that although not everything at Burton has been all sunshine and roses, it never is, and I have had my challenges and dislikes. My experience there as a whole has been overwhelmingly positive. And the things I've learned there will, without a doubt, go on to assist me in my future in college and the workforce. Thank you all very much.
Thanks for asking us to come and speak tonight. My name is Mike French. This is my 16th year of teaching the Computer Information Technology program at Burton. Prior to that, I was 12 years in the industry. I worked in computer science, and I can tell you this is by far the most rewarding career that I've had in my life. One of the focuses of my program is something called the CompTIA A+ and Net+ certifications. These certifications are very important because they open up doors, open up opportunities for students when they get out of high school. And it's something that many jobs that are entry-level IT requires before they can even get their foot in the door. A couple of students I wanted to talk about. One is Jacob Tyree, who was a first-year student when I was a first-year teacher. And Jacob went through my program, earned my certifications that I offered, and he went to college, and he came back to work for Roanoke County Schools as the Glenboro laptop technician until, I believe, just recently this year. Another student got out of my program and went right to work at Carilion, right out of high school. And Tyler Parrish is still there, and he's been promoted 3 or 4 times now, and he's made a very good career for himself because of the certifications and the opportunities that came about. Another thing I wanted to mention is the VA STAR program. STAR is an acronym for Student Training and Refurbishment. This is a state-funded program where donated computers get brought to my classroom, My students take those computers, fix the ones that are broken, clean them up, install Windows on them, and then my students will find a charitable organization to which to donate these programs. And we've donated to the Blue Ridge Autism Center, Straight Street, West End Center on Youth, and many others in the past. This is a really great win-win collaboration because my students get the real-world experience of fixing the computers, and they set them up and work with the people to whom we donate. And then, of course, the company gets the usage of the computer. And again, it's just a really great opportunity for everybody to have something positive come from this. So I'm very proud to be able to work with young students and to help them create a potential future for whatever lies before them. So thank you.
Good evening, my name is Ann Nelson, and this is my 4th year at the Burton Center for Arts and Technology. I've completed all 3 years of the Building Trades program, and I'm currently in my 1st year of EMT and Masonry. And I had the fortunate opportunity to be in some of the summer programs before COVID. As Miles mentioned before, in Building Trades we learned plumbing, carpentry, electrical, and I was able to design the blueprints for our house a couple of years ago thanks to the skills I learned in that class. And through the EMT program, we get lots of hands-on activity, and later in the semester we'll be able to go out on actual calls in ambulances with the fire and rescue. And it'll also be dual enrolled, so that provides college credits towards medical and EMT. Burton has been a great opportunity to make connections and meet students from multiple base schools. Like the video mentioned before, there are 5 base schools, so you have the opportunity to meet students and staff that you wouldn't otherwise meet and build connections and get to know people. And because you continue to have the same teachers over many years, you're able to develop a better connection with them in a relationship. And then the students that you meet there will continue to be friends with you. And since it is an elective, you can go on to meet them in college and in the future as you work. Thank you for having us.
Good evening. 4 years ago, I joined the Burton family as the Jobs for Virginia Graduate Specialist. Now, a lot of people don't really know what Jobs for Virginia Graduates is. It's part of a Jobs for America Graduates program, which is a national nonprofit mentoring program supporting students in their transition from classroom to career. And what better place to do this than Burton? At Burton, I work with students within their BCAP program through workshops, as well as individual and small group pull-out sessions. I also take students off campus for community experiences, such as volunteering, industry tours, interviews, and job shadowing. Now, part of my job is to collect a lot of data, and I had a lot of data to give you, and then I realized that this isn't about data. I mean, I knew that anyway. So what I'd like to do is share with you the story of one student who was involved, or still is, involved with JVG. Last year, Jimmy signed on for JVG and shared with me that he wanted to start his own pressure washing business and needed help figuring it out. He was 16. He had money saved. He had an idea of a customer base, but he knew there was probably a little bit more that he needed to work on. Because he was unsure of his knowledge in business licensing, bonding, insuring, and I was also, we started to do some research, and he quickly realized that he had a ways to go before starting a business. In April, a local small business lawn treatment company reached out, interested in starting a partnership with JVG and hiring a young adult who was a responsible self-starter. Immediately, I thought of Jimmy. After I met with the owner to discuss the partnership, Jimmy and I set to work to revise his resume, do mock interviews, and brainstorm how to use this entry-level opportunity to not only advance in the industry, but also to learn the fundamentals of running a small business. Within a week of initial contact, the owner came to Burton to interview Jimmy. He was hired on the spot, and he started work a few weeks later. He rearranged his senior year schedule so that he was available to work 20 to 30 hours a week. That would be this year. He has now been with the company for 6 months and is an essential employee. By the time he turns 18 in January, he will have been trained and certified to mix and apply chemicals, as well as able to run his own crew. He's an 18-year-old senior. He will be making $25 an hour and will have the option to work full-time with benefits upon graduation in May. With the support of the JVG resources and great program mentors at Burton, Jimmy will have bypassed much of the stress and uncertainty associated with the transition to the adult world. I'm also very confident that within the next 5 to 7 years, we'll have a new pressure washing business in the Roanoke Valley. Jimmy is just one of many students who has benefited from the JVG support at Burton. Whether JVG students need help to make sure they graduate, have a landing spot post-graduation, or guidance as they navigate other barriers, JVG offers them crucial opportunities and support to be successful in their lives after high school. Thank you for allowing us the time to share what we're about.
Hi, my name is Jason Cox, and I'm a senior at William Byrd High School and a CPA 4. Back in my freshman year, it was a very rough year, so I don't know what was in there. I don't know what was in the air. But when I joined, I was not a very good dancer and kind of an all right singer. And it's been such a great opportunity to learn all the different types and forms of dance. I've got to learn tap, jazz, ballet, all kinds of kind of cool stuff. And as you saw in the video, I can kind of bust a move. I have had the joy to do the Past Burton tours this past weekend or end of the week. And while doing that, I got to do what I kind of hoped that someone would do when I came here, and was to showcase what the program of the Center for Performing Arts truly is. And it's to enjoy and to celebrate what it is that we love to perform for just a crowd. And in my experience there, it's been a kind of a gateway. I've joined the color guard of William Byrd High School. I'm a terrier. Hi, Miss Newcomb. And it's opened a door for me that I don't ever want to close again, and I hope to do this in college. And to close this up, one of my things that I love about Burton most is that as a choir kid, band kid, and drama kid, there's kind of a stigma. Where a lot of people don't really like you. And as I've ever went to Burton, I've never had the feeling of anyone ever not liking me or not fully accepting me. And it's kind of been a joy. And I have to thank all the staff at BCAT. Thank you.
He really can bust a move, and he can sing too. Our school counselor, Gibby, could not be here, but we are a technology center, so we figured out a way to let her talk.
Hi, I'm Gibby, and I'm the school counselor at Burton. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but things happen and we all have to learn to adjust. I am very excited to talk about recruitment and retention at Burton. 8 years ago when I started there, not all of our classes were full. And we had more first-year students because we weren't retaining students. And students at that time were just scheduled into classes. Last week with 8th grade tours, some of the things that I made very clear when students were applying is I wanted them to understand the selection process for our general programs. We're not looking for students with straight A's and perfect behavior. We are looking for students who attend school and want to learn what we have to teach. Working to select, enroll, and retain students where they want to be to create positive career pathways and futures. This is not an easy task. We've worked hard over the past several years to develop a process that addresses all of this. We work to fill our classes with students who really want to be there, stay there, and possibly make a career out of what they learn. We want their classes to align with their personal interests, skills, and goals. We work to create students that are opportunity ready at the time of graduation and ready for whatever that opportunity might be. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Melanie Fisher, the assistant principal at Burton Center. Thank you so much for having us here this evening. I want to quickly review our PBIS matrix that you see up here on the screen. When we started the process here, we learned very quickly that the student expectations through PBIS, and for those of you who don't know what that acronym is, it's Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. We learned very quickly, well, we already do a lot of this at Burton. It's actually what we're about. So, we pretty much just put a framework to things that we already do. And we wanted to make sure that everything was positively stated for our students. And we really wanted to capture the vibe of Burton. So we started with the PBIS team, and we came up with what you see at the left-hand side there. When you go into most of the schools in Roanoke County, you will see these matrices. And a lot of times they are centered around be safe, be responsible, and be respectful. So we took that and we made it ours through our acronym BCAT, Burton Center for Arts and Technology. So the B in BCAT, this is how we want you to be. The C is for careful, which means safe. The A for accountable, which means responsible. And of course, the T for thoughtful, respectful. So it went from our PBIS team, and we took it to the staff, and we got input from them, got some brainstormed ideas. They came up with the areas at the top, the parking lot, campus, break, community, those headings there at the top. We then took it to the students. We got student input, and we wanted to make sure we got a good representation of our students. So you've already heard we have 3 blocks of students on A morning, B morning, and B afternoon. So we got representatives from all 3 groups to give us ideas. And our students really blew us away. They gave us their expectations for themselves, number 1. And number 2, they gave us their language. So we learned a lot from that student input. So we took the staff and student input, went back to the PBIS team and kind of condensed everything, made it very concise into the document that you see before you. Now, I do want to go ahead and conclude our presentation for this evening. You have now heard from several staff and students and our counselor. And you've heard this slogan, One Burton, Infinite Possibilities. So what does this mean? So for us, we do have students from all 5 high schools, One Burton, and actually from a few middle schools through our ELL program. So One Burton there. We have 4 specialty centers. We have 16 trade and industry programs. We have 3 special education work programs. We have the newcomers classes for English language learners. And we also have our English 9 and 10 for our English language learners, One Burton. We have diversity of students and staff through their interests and their industry trades, who all come together with that one common interest, One Burton. So we have also, on the other side, the infinite possibilities. Well, what does this mean? So our students can come to Burton. They can earn the industry certifications. They can earn dual credit through the dual enrollment. They can take AP classes. Our students have won regional, state, and national awards, and some of those awards have led to scholarship money. All of these come together, infinite possibilities. We help our students to become opportunity ready. We want to help start their career. Some of them want to start that right after high school. And in fact, some of our students, as you've heard, start that career before they graduate high school. Some of our students go to the military, some into post-secondary education, technical institutes. Again, infinite possibilities for our students. We do a lot of cross-curricular projects and collaborations. We've had mass communication collaborate with criminal justice in a mock trial. We've had our engineering students collaborate with our building trade students to create adaptive equipment for our special education students. Again, infinite possibilities. So our students might be interested in only one area, but then they come to Burton and they quickly learn that through all of this collaboration with other programs, there are infinite possibilities. There really are endless possibilities. So you've also heard that there's kind of a family feel at Burton. You've heard things like unified campus, community, pursuing your goals. We just like being with each other. We get firsthand experience, learning and having fun while doing it. It brings people together, collaboration, and the future, whatever that might be. So for all of these reasons and so many more, our slogan is quite descriptive of who we are and what we're about. And we are One Burton, Infinite Possibilities. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you. Outstanding presentation by all the speakers this evening. And just the positivity and the passion from each speaker. And I know it starts with you, Mr. Kish, and it is just truly amazing. We can no longer call Burton our hidden gem because you guys
Shine that diamond.
Yes, it is. It's been exposed, and the things that you guys are doing over there in all the programs are just amazing. Day in, day out. It's we can't get that new facility built fast enough for you guys.
I agree.
Mr. Greenway?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So leading right into that, you ask what the future holds. I know what we want it to hold, and we're pushing every day and very hard to get that new BCAT Center on Peters Creek Road. And if the Board of Supervisors needed any indication of how well we're doing at BCAT, or if they need any push or impetus to get us that funding, right here it was. It was a beautiful presentation. And I think, Mr. Linden, I think they did you a wonderful service here today in another way. I think at our State of the County address, you just got your presentation. I think this is a wonderful presentation of, I mean, it's infinite possibilities. I mean, this is what can make Roanoke County even a greater place than it is right now, are all the possibilities of how we can interact with our community and educational opportunities for our kids and for the future business opportunities for our kids. So, and bringing those kids back to Roanoke County to live, work, and instead of that 1,000 pupil decline of students over the last decade, we start the other way, right? So thank y'all for that presentation. It was a wonderful presentation, and the students are, I mean, if anybody's listened to our cast tonight, you got kids here that are ready to be employed. I mean, that y'all speak so well. It's just wonderful to hear from our students, and you did an amazing job. And Brennan, I think you ought to, maybe Chuck ought to be concerned back there, and Miss McBroom, and then Channel 10 as well, John Carlin, and everybody. I thought you did a great job. All you guys
making
did
him blush.
you all did a wonderful job. Thank you.
Ms. Shawnee?
Well, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of Burton. I have 4 children that have all attended Burton. My youngest, Bella, is there right now. It's great to see Eric Salo. I haven't seen you in a while. So many familiar faces. We had an excellent open house. It was an honor and a privilege to be there. Many parents, many new faces, exciting energy, and the enthusiasm was really palpable. The staff did a great job. I used to say that Burton was the best kept secret this side of the Mississippi, but I think the secret's out. Like you said, we're polishing that diamond. My children, you always say, how was school today, or how are things? They get home and you try to get little nuggets of information. And every single time they come home from Burton, they have a burst of information to tell me. Now, that's not to say Hidden Valley High School is not great, but I will say their favorite day has always been Burton Day. And it's because it's a family. And you guys all showed that tonight. Kids care. You spoke about it, I thought, very genuinely, young man, and you did a great job. All the students did a great job. And it's a place where everybody is accepted because we put all these disciplines together. And the kids feel that. There's a sense of belonging, and you really get that at Burton. And my kids were able to make so many other friendships at Burton that they otherwise never would have made. So one last thing, Mike French, I have 2 computers for you. I didn't know you did that.
Gladly accept, thank you.
I will drop them off, let's see, probably on Monday to you. And if you could, I don't know, can I say who I want to donate it to, or do your students decide?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, Straight Street would be great for me. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you for all your hard work, and we're going to build Burton, and it's going to be even better and better and better. The possibilities are certainly infinite. Thank you.
Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I have the pleasure of serving on the GAC, and Brennan is on there, and he's already a leader. And he hadn't been there but one meeting, I guess, but he's already a leader, so I know the quality. We currently turn away people from Burton. We don't have the space, and that's what we're working on as a board, is trying to work on this to make a state-of-the-art where we don't have to say, you can't come, because we don't have the room. My daughter went there. She went to Cave Spring and then went on to Burton, and of course she's teaching in Northern Virginia right now, but the things that she learned about the war, being there and being part of it, you're a teamwork when you get there. You're working together like you do when you got on a job. You know, that's the big thing you look for, is the teamwork. Can you work with others? So, you know, they learn those skill sets. And, you know, I really hate that people didn't hear Gibby in person. If you ever met Gibby, she's a go-getter.
Yes, she
And
is.
she knows all of the things. In fact, you, Kristen, I think you were asking her information, and she was giving it to you just like that. And that's happening this afternoon, or that's happening, you know, so that's, you know, and the dedicated staff you have. But, you know, I can't say enough, and we just need to get this new Burton Center going so that the future students will be able to have the opportunities and be able to grow our own workforce here in the Roanoke Valley, which is we need to do. We hear from businesses all the time that need these workers, and you're developing these workers with the trades, not only that, but performing arts, mass communication, all of these fields. So anyway, thank you for what y'all do, and we got to do our part on this end. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hudson.
Thank you for the presentation, everybody. Just awesome to hear everything, especially from the students. And I had the opportunity to hang out with Mr. Kish and his staff at the open house this past week, and it was amazing to see so many people coming out, all these young 8th graders coming out with big smiles on their face, really excited to see what it's all about. And I like how one person put it, useful and marketable skills that open doors after high school. And that is our goal, and that can't be expressed enough. And the story about the student that's going to make $25 an hour right out of high school, that's awesome. I had to look that up to see how much that was a year, and it equates to $52,000, and that is just amazing. I would venture to say that not many people right out of high school are making $52,000 a year. So it really shows what you guys are doing is what we need in this community. It keeps people here. These jobs are here. Obviously, employers are having a hard time filling these jobs. It's amazing what you guys are doing. And just seeing the enthusiasm, this young man's face and everybody here, it's great. We need to get Burton built. We need to get a new Burton built. I've got 2 children. They're in elementary school. Let's get it done. Let's get it done before my kids get there. I don't want to play games with it. I think everybody is on board, and it's easy to see what you guys are doing. You're doing a great service to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On to item number 6, hearing of citizens and delegations. During this portion of the meeting, citizens, including students, parents, employees of Roanoke County, citizens, and Roanoke County citizens, are invited to address the board on matters of public concern in exercise of their First Amendment rights. We do ask speakers to be respectful and civil in their comments and address the board chair rather than individual board members. Speakers have 3 minutes to make their comments and will be signaled by the lights on the podium. Please be aware that board members listen to comments but are not able to respond. Our first speaker tonight is Emily Berry. Welcome, Ms. Berry.
Good evening. Let's see here. Emily Berry. I think it says address and something else on there to.
You don't need to do
Don't
that.
need to do all
We have
that?
it.
Okay, great. I am coming before you tonight to speak on an issue that hasn't quite come up yet, but it is coming. And it has to do with recently proposed policy at the state level for reversal on the decision as policies as they apply for our trans students within the school setting. From what I have looked into, it would be that these students, if they did want to be acknowledged by a different name than what they were born with, would have to be a legal name change from reading that. And if they did contact any of the staff or teachers within the school, it would have to be immediately reported to parents regardless. Now, I say that, and I also want to speak to the fact that the second leading cause of death within 10 to 24-year-olds that are identified as LGBTQIA is suicide. I don't mean to say that so darkly. However, facts are facts and data is data, right? So I say that and I bring this to it. I understand both sides and I can see that. Why they have based the decisions at the state on the 14th Amendment and in regards to where they came to that decision, but also what it may impact within our schools themselves as far as the need for additional mental health resources, the impact it may have, because they have shown that one accepting adult will decrease the attempt of suicide by 40% for kiddos that identify as LGBTQ. And I have seen reflected by what we currently have in place being very positive, and I think it's very effective so far. So I think there's a middle ground that can be found. And I thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. The next speaker, Forrest Roseberry. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Forrest Roseberry, though most people call me Rose, and I am a transgender student attending Cave Spring High School. And today I would like to speak on the new model policies for transgender students written by Governor Glenn Youngkin. I know you guys have yet to decide on whether or not to revise our current policies to align with these new ones on the state level. And I would like to say that these policies at the state level are very damaging to students like me. For me, being transgender means that I was assigned female at birth. However, my gender identity is as a man. For my transition, I have changed my name and pronouns on a social level, and I use a binder to present as masculine at school. Whenever I hear my legal name, my dead name, it makes me sick to my stomach and I want to cry. However, every time I sign a legal document, read my learner's permit, go to the doctors, etc., I must read, hear, and say my dead name out loud. And it is impossible to describe in words how much I hate being referred to with this name that isn't mine. When I'm in school, however, I do not have to worry about my dead name because thanks to our current policies, I am able to have my name in the school system be Rose, my correct name. There is no longer a sense of dread for me when I enter a new class and I have to take attendance, when I have to sign field trip forms, or even just checking my grades and homework assignments. The new policies that Governor Youngkin is pushing would make it significantly harder for me to keep my name in the school system. As to do so, I would have to change my name legally. A legal name change is expensive, time-consuming, and tiring, and it is something that my family simply does not have the ability to do. Governor Youngkin's policies would take away my name in the school system, and I fear that because of this, I will be harassed with my dead name by my peers. My teachers may not actually accept me and choose to use my incorrect name, and I will feel that overwhelming sense of dread when doing simple things like checking my grades and signing forms. The sense of dread also comes from the realization that no matter what, there will always be people in my own state, in my own county, in my own school, that would not hesitate to harass and harm me and my friends if given the chance. One thing that does not help with this and will never make me feel safer, more accepted, or protected are these policies being pushed by Governor Youngkin. It's not just the policy about the name changes that will harm transgender students. There are many more policies, such as teachers being forced to out students or the bathroom policies. All of these will target trans students in a negative way. Policies like these are the reason why the suicide rate and rates of depression and anxiety among trans students are so high. And these policies are already being pushed across the state. We cannot let them be pushed into Roanoke. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, Rick Kelly. Good evening.
Sorry, I have to put my glasses on here. Ladies and gentlemen of the school board, Dr. Nicely, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here concerning the removal of Danny Barber as head coach at Cave Spring High School, head lacrosse coach at Cave Spring High School. Just a brief couple minutes, or not a couple minutes, couple seconds about me. I've had the privilege to be a volunteer goaltending coach for the Cave Spring lacrosse team every year since 2012. That year, my oldest son, Luke, was a ninth grader, so I approached first-year head coach Tom Dowdy that year, and he welcomed me to the staff. I had hoped my background as a former emergency backup goalie for the Roanoke Express pro hockey team would greatly benefit the team. Well, I was wrong. Turns out the positions are very different, which I quickly found out, but the mindset is the same, something I tell all goalies, angles and confidence. So moving on, we played our first 3 years as a club team. I believe Coach Danny Barber joined Coach Dowdy's staff around 2014. In 2015, both Cave Spring Lax boys and Cave Spring Lax girls became full varsity, and with many years also fielding a JV team. For the 2016-2017 season, I moved to the girls' team and worked with their goalies during that time. So that was my first time working with the girls. Different challenges, but I had a blast. In 2018, Coach Barber asked me to join the boys and help them with their goalies, which also included my eighth grade son, Ben, who is a senior this year. I say all this because I've watched Coach Barber spend much time and effort to not only develop the high school boys program, but also as a volunteer serve as Cave Spring Rec lacrosse coordinator, a position that he still has. This position has allowed the Cave Spring area to develop the young lacrosse player and provide him and her the opportunity to play at whatever level they desire, including high school and even college, both boys and girls. Cave Spring Rec Lacrosse has also taken on kids from Hidden Valley, as their program, I believe, has shut down or is operating with less than optimal players. Coach Barber has also helped develop many coaches at the rec level. Due to this, our rec teams have greatly improved and now routinely play competitively or more often win against the more traditional lacrosse teams, which would be PH and Salem in this area. I've watched Coach Barber demonstrate a genuine care for the athletes that have come through his programs, both at the rec and high school. He has helped integrate eighth graders as well into some of the high school practices, which they greatly enjoy, which also benefits the JV and varsity teams in the future. Cave Spring Boys Lacrosse has been competitive every year, despite us having to play catch-up to the more established programs that I just mentioned. This past year, Coach Barber assembled a team of 7 coaches, including myself, of which myself and one other were volunteers. This group of coaches also include 2 teachers at Cave Spring High School. Coach Barber and the coaching staff has constantly pushed our players to be better people and players. Some of our players just play high school lacrosse. Others also play football, basketball, and ice hockey. Coach Barber utilizes the couple of apps. One is Team Snap to communicate with the players and parents. He also uses the Huddle app, which is an app to capture video for both the team as well as players that want to go to the next level for college. I'll add this, we greatly appreciate Case Spring alum and videographer Robert Stutz for his tremendous gift of time to doing that videotaping for us. Coach Barber has spent every summer hosting Nights of Summer. This is a 6-week seminar held at Bogle Field for the youth of our community, including beyond Case Spring. The seminar often has players from across the valley, including Northside and Botetourt, that desire to play as they don't have youth programs yet. Simply stated, they don't have a champion for the sport who is willing to take on the challenges, including fields, equipment cost, communication, etc. Coach Barber has done this and more for the Case Spring area. In March of 2020, our program, like all the other spring sports, suffered the outbreak of COVID-19, thus shutting down.
Wrap up your comments, please. Wrap up your comments,
Okay.
please.
Well, let me get to the end there. Well, if I can have just 1 minute?
30 more seconds.
30 seconds, okay. So I'll get to the meat of it and then the end of it. I'm aware that there was a video taken of Coach Barber using inappropriate language. I've not seen it, nor was I, or I believe any of the coaches there that night. This was very unusual, as we are typically always there. For my part, I apologize for not being there. We as coaches, including myself, should always strive to keep our language and actions beyond reproach. Sometimes we fail, sometimes which we need to fix. Unfortunately, bad language and actions are ingrained in most of all of our sports, including high school. Unfortunately, this happened to Coach Barber at a bad moment, which was captured on video in the locker room, which I believe should be off limits. So my final thing is that I respectfully ask the school board and Dr. Nicely to reconsider and reverse their decision and reinstate Coach Danny Barber to his position as head coach. I can assure you that he and his staff have suffered through this, and hopefully we can use this moment as a new starting point for great things to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Our next speaker, Roxanne Chrisley.
Thank you all so much for letting me speak to you today. As a resident and taxpayer in Roanoke County since 1989, I consider it my responsibility to address to the board an issue in the Roanoke County system. I've been substituting in the system and have attended many of the different schools, and I'm very concerned about the amount of food that is being wasted during school hours, both at breakfast and at lunch. It's really disheartening to see students throw away so much food. When I inquired about the amount of food being wasted, I got comments back like, "Oh, I know," or "It happens every day." I was told that we cannot tell the children they can't have the food since it's a Title IX school. Many of the kids have said to me that it's free, or I didn't want it, or I wasn't hungry when I asked them myself. With the rise of the cost of food and the shortage we're seeing in our country, I would like to see more responsibility given to and respect for the amount of food the taxpayers of this county are paying for and yet is being thrown away. I have never seen so much waste. As a taxpayer and a home educating parent who never received credit for this right and this choice, to see my hard-earned money provided to these kids being thrown away every day is really concerning. My family can't afford to throw away food. My children were taught to be respectful and resourceful. Why are we allowing county public school students to throw away so much food? The concept of Title IX as being free seems to be ignoring the importance of accountability and respect for what is being provided. I just don't understand why this wasteful practice is being allowed. Since the board is recognizing School Lunch Week, I would like to ask that the board actually investigate this matter and do something about it and cut down on the daily waste of food. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chrisley. Our next speaker, Ava Giannini.
I'd like to say that I'm speaking on behalf of a student who is not allowed to attend today because of the subject that I'm talking about, which is, again, the trans policy. This policy is going to negatively impact so many students in regard to mental and emotional abuse and suffering due to the undeniable fact that these students will not have a choice to be who they are. This policy takes that choice. This is my experience from a young age. I was put into a school that taught how wrong it was to be who I am. I tried coming out to my parents, but with no one by my side and my extremely unaccepting family, I had no support. They dehumanized me, made me feel insane, and like I was not their child anymore for something I cannot control. I have never felt so alone and trapped in myself. This policy would make it so students like me would have to come out to their parents if they wanted to go by a different name, and that is dangerous for many kids. What is the crucial reason for changing one's name, pronouns, and designated bathroom, you may be asking? Well, trans individuals often suffer from a condition called gender dysphoria. It's real and dangerous and makes trans individuals extremely uncomfortable and dysphoric to be called by their old name and pronouns. The effect this policy would have would absolutely trap students where parents don't approve, like my home. It's dangerous. And if parents aren't accepting, the process in which a name and pronouns would be changed would be extremely difficult and unnecessary. And for the unfair cherry on top, if a teacher deems a student's name and pronouns against their beliefs, they don't have to call a student by their name. In an article by the National Library of Medicine states that 82% of trans youth have thought about suicide and 40% haven't attempted, I included. You may be considering this policy for its political affiliation, but you need to understand the students you will be affecting and the outcome of limiting our rights. Suicide rates will go up, families will fall apart, homeless, starving children will be rampant. Students like me will be alone and unable to change that fact without being scrutinized. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Sydney Rearick. Welcome.
Thank you. As the school board for the Roanoke County Public Schools, the 2022 model policies that people have talked about before on the privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents at Virginia Public Schools under the Virginia Department of Education has not yet crossed your desk. This legislation is not under effect and is not yours yet to uphold. However, it is important to me and all the students behind me that you understand the effect that these model policies will have upon us and why we do not agree with the changes being made. The 2022 model policies that were brought forth outline the rights of parents to determine how their children will be raised. Under Section 1A, which states parents are in the best position to work with their children and, where appropriate, their children's health care. This, however, ignores the safety concerns that affect transgender kids when parents are involved. Within the 2021 policy signed by Northam only a year ago, the schools had the ability to decide whether to involve parents when housing, violence, or other safety concerns such as suicide were involved under these policies and would proceed from there. If none of these concerns were present, the parents would be involved in every other case. According to the American Bar Association, transgender youth make up half of young people on the street and have an 120% increase in likeliness to become homeless. It is not only a concern when thinking of educational ability, but also in the safety and well-being of students. Not to mention, parents are already included within gender confirmation in schools. These policies would take away a parent's choice more than they would provide. When a student wishes to change their name and pronouns, teachers must report to guidance counselors and double-check with parents. In order for gender-affirming care under the 2022 policies, however, parents need legal confirmation, which is costly and not attainable for most students. Whether or not parents agree or disagree with their child's identity, they have no say if the 2022 policies pass. Making the argument of the 14th Amendment to protect immunities and privileges of the parents for them to upbring their children, but including parents that may create safety concern or including convoluted processes take away from students and parents' rights to decide. Similarly, both policies mention the necessity of protecting transgender students from bullying and harassment, but through two very different means. The 2022 model policies argue that in order to diminish bullying, dead names and inappropriate pronouns would be necessary, whereas 2021 policy states, and I quote, for transgender students, acts of verbal harassment may include the intentional and persistent use of names and pronouns not consistent with their identity. Sex-based harassment may also include the disclosure of the student's gender identity without their consent, as this presents safety concerns for the student. This is most consistent with the research done by the Human Rights Foundation in 2018, and with the majority of transgender students being verbally threatened due to their identity, and from unverified personal gnosis of many of the students I know and that sit behind me. In short, this is a situation in which children within our school system will be put in unsafe situations, discriminated against, and suffer bullying and harassment, causing educational, mental, and perhaps physical harm. This legislation should not pass for the safety and happiness of all students. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker looks like Alex Scott, is it? Okay. And it is Elisa Downey. Welcome, Miss Downey.
So it's been a while since I've been here. So forgive me if I'm talking about something you guys have already taken care of, because I've been out of touch with everything that you guys have been doing recently due to some deaths in my family. So I'm here to express disappointment or maybe encouragement for you guys to reconsider the diversity, equity, inclusion position that you eliminated earlier this year. I think that it is an important position that Roanoke County clearly needs, because if we take a look around in this room, a lot of us look kind of the same. And as a board member, you guys, I think you're all married and heterosexual, and you all look the same makeup. So I think it's important for Roanoke County to have a diversity person, someone that's going to give you a perspective that you don't understand, because you're not that person. You've never experienced any kind of discrimination because of your race or because of your sexual identity or anything like that. So I would like to encourage you to reconsider that. I found some quotes because I know you guys like quotes and they sound cool. So, diversity is having a seat at the table. Inclusion is having a voice, and belonging is having that voice being heard. Also, something that Picasso said is there's only one way to see things until someone shows us how to look at them with different eyes. So we only have one perspective because it's our perspective until we listen to other people. And I hope that as you guys make decisions, that you have people in your life that are helping you get a different perspective, people that you don't agree with. I hope you're sitting down, now that we have less school board meetings, I'm hoping that you guys are going to your districts and going to apartment complexes and people and neighborhoods that maybe aren't what you're used to, and having those conversations. What are the problems? What are their access issues? Because we don't have anyone in Roanoke County that's their job. And if we want to grow and we want to be opportunity ready and all those kind of things, we need to have a different perspective. And sometimes it's not easy to listen to people that don't agree with you, that come from different backgrounds. But it's important because the world is not just about us. It's about like everyone. So moving on from that. I had many things to say since I haven't been here for a while. I was also thinking good ways for you guys to think about the employees of Roanoke County. You can do other things besides obviously give us a raise, because, I mean, you gave us a raise and that was awesome, but we still do not make as much money as all the other districts. And, you know, it is what it is. So I'd like you to consider a couple things. Maybe instead of teachers having 2 personal days and 3 partial days where we have to pay for part of the subs, maybe you guys can give us 3 personal days and 2 partial pay days. Also, something that's kind of different is how about bereavement leave? I don't think everyone has loved ones that are close to them that die every year, but having bereavement leave might be something that communicates that you care, and it's another way of humanizing us as teachers. Thanks.
Our next speaker, Dana Jennings. Welcome.
Good evening. And unlike those impressive students at Burton, I have not had any training, or do I have a great love of public speaking, so bear with me. Again, my name's Dana Jennings. I have 2 kids that are currently in Cave Spring. I am a Cave Spring graduate myself, and I am here to make an appeal to have Denny Barber reinstated as the head lacrosse coach for Cave Spring. I don't know how much more that I could say that more than that Coach Rick Kelly has said. I can tell you that my son, who's here today, and he'll get real mad because apparently that's embarrassing pointing him out, that he is going on his 7th year of playing lacrosse. And Denny is the reason that my son got involved in lacrosse in the first place. He has played rec, he has played travel, He is hopefully going to play JV this year. I'm really hoping he's going to go on to get a scholarship for college because that would really help my pocketbook out. But just to say like a couple things, the parents and the players want Denny reinstated. They did submit a signed petition to Mr. Hartness requesting that. Denny has been the Cave Spring Recreational President and Boys Lacrosse Coordinator since 2013 and currently serves on the President's Council for Roanoke County Parks and Rec. He works effectively with students. With his players, with administrators, with his parents, and he really advocates for the sport of lacrosse in the Roanoke Valley. I did bring up these concerns to Dr. Nicely. He did express to me that the hiring and dismissal is not done on a board level, but is rather done at a school level. But we have been told differently. If you can't overturn the position or the decision, I would at least implore you to investigate the dismissal to make sure that it was done in the right manner. Many of the players and parents are here today in support of the reinstatement, and thank you for the chance to speak.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Dina Musselman. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. It is with a hopeful mind and heavy heart that I speak before you this evening. My children, husband, and I have been affiliated with Cave Spring lacrosse programs for 18 years. Our youngest is currently an 8th grade lacrosse player. Please understand, our Cave Spring lacrosse community is greatly disappointed and rightfully outraged that our dedicated head coach for Cave Spring High School boys lacrosse has been terminated. I respectfully request that Coach Barber be rightfully reinstated for the following reasons. The 9th through 12th grade players submitted a signed petition directly to Ms. Deeds asking for Coach Barber to be reinstated in August, shortly after school started. Denny works extremely well with parents, players, administration, and referees. Denny has efficiently led Cave Spring Rec and high school boys lacrosse for nearly a decade. Denny provides year-round training for our lacrosse players. Denny works diligently with college recruiters and currently had 6 seniors committed to various colleges. With the exception of 2020, due to COVID, Coach Barber has had all winning seasons. Coach Barber is highly respected and involved in our lacrosse community, including being Cave Spring Rec Foundation President and Boys Lacrosse Coordinator since 2013. Coach Barber organizes Cave Spring Rec Boys Lacrosse tournaments annually. He works exceptionally well with the referees, including using Bogle Field to train them. Coach Barber enlists high school players to assist him with coaching our upcoming youth players during fall ball and summer clinics. Lastly, Coach Barber works effectively with our lacrosse community to foster positive relationships throughout the Roanoke Valley and to grow lacrosse in the Cave Spring area. Terminating a devoted coach with a long-standing dedicated history appears to be an extreme reaction to a minor offense for which Coach Barber has publicly acknowledged and apologized for doing. In closing, we desperately hope you will reinstate Coach Barber because players and parents have reached out to both Ms. Deeds and Mr. Ray, and now we come to you to share our concerns with the entire board. Thank you for your time.
And our final speaker, Aiden Musselman. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Aiden Musselman, and I'm here to speak for on behalf of Denny Barber and his removal from being a high school lacrosse coach. My name is Aiden Musselman. I'm in 8th grade, and I've been playing lacrosse for 7 years now, and I have hopes of playing on the JV team. And I can thank Coach Denny for all of that. Not only has he taught me how to play lacrosse, he's taught me how to be a better man in this world. From telling me how to treat others with respect and helping players and people not only on the field, but in school and in public. He's also done the same for many other people in this room. players and people in this room. He treats me like his own son by telling me the only things I can control are my attitude and my effort. I hope you can reconsider letting Coach Denny return to Cave Spring High School lacrosse. Thank you.
All right, on to the next agenda item, number 7, consent agenda. And these are all items which we have gone over extensively in a previous meeting or in a work session. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Chairman, I move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Item number 8, action item, recommendation to name the William Byrd High School football field at Patterson Stadium for retired coach Jeff Highfield. Miss Tammy Newcomb, welcome.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. It is a pleasure to recommend the Robert A. Patterson Stadium Field be named after our coach, Coach Jeff Highfield, a longtime teacher, coach, and friend of William Byrd High School. Coach Highfield taught math for 35 years. He coached football for 38 years. He began our soccer program at William Byrd, and he coached there for 35 years also as a soccer coach, 2 varsity sports. Altogether, he has 657 wins, 48 championships, 5 team sportsmanships, 32 Coach of the Year awards, all of this from his hard work, dedication, and passion for supporting the student athletes of William Byrd. I received the request from Dale Foster, Coach Highfield's mentor and friend, on behalf of Dr. Wilson, our former superintendent of Roanoke County, our former beloved principal, Bob Patterson, who recently passed away, and Dave Blevins, who was also an AD administrator at William Byrd High School, who also became a principal in Roanoke County Schools, and every athletic director that has been at Byrd during Coach Highfield's tenure. The committee of teachers and parents and students unanimously agreed that Coach Highfield should be honored for this outstanding career as teacher, head football coach, head soccer coach, and a dedicated human being for the athletes and students at William Byrd High School. Without hesitation, I recommend our field be named after Coach Highfield. With me also, I have Coach Walthall, who has been our athletic director for some time, who also would like to speak.
Thank you. Coach Highfield and I went to high school together a couple years ago. We were involved with the Groovy 60s and had the tradition. I am older than you, yes. Hope I'll stay that way. But Jeff has mentioned, and with Robert Patterson and Bays Wilson, in my mind, those 3 guys, I mean, you can't get much better. If I had a son, I would like for my son to play for Jeff Highfield. He was a coach at soccer, and he was a coach at football for many, many, many years, many decades. All of the athletic directors before and after me are all in agreement that this is the right thing to do for this man. Off the field, he is a quality human being. He's a Christian. He is a person that is dedicated to his family. If you hear him talk about his family, his son, his daughter, his grandchildren now, spends too much time on the golf course, but other than that. But Jeff and I started at Andrew Lewis High School, and we ended up, he was coaching football in 1982 at William Byrd, and then Mr. Patterson, who was our assistant principal at Andrew Lewis, hired me the next year as a baseball coach. Soon after, I stayed for 15 years. Then I was at Mount Pleasant teaching, became a granddad or became a father, said I wanted to be with my daughters, watching them. In 2001, had the opportunity to be the athletic director, and Coach Highfield's still there. Without his help and the help of Paul Bernard and Tim Chocolate, there was no athletic manual, no athletic director's manual. He came in almost every day. Have you done this? Have you done that? And he really assisted me off the field, but in the classroom, he's a gentleman. And I told many people, I said, if you get this honor, the greatest thing about having a field named after you is it doesn't say memorial. So I'm happy to support Coach Jeff Highfield, my friend.
I've reached the cane stage now. Bringing back a lot of memories here tonight. But, it's a pleasure to be here, board members, and hear all that's going on. Brings back a lot of memories. But I'm pleased to be here to support the coach tonight. The recognition you're giving him is certainly worthy and appropriate. I hired him in 1981 as football coach at Williamsburg High School. He'd had several years' experience before then. I brought him from Floyd County over. And I think, Coach, that I can take credit for some of your wins because I used to come to a lot of your games, and I don't remember any of them being a loss. But he has done an outstanding job there, and he's certainly fulfilled the faith that I had in him. And it's appropriate that you're going to recognize him by naming the field after him. Bob Patterson was principal there many years. I think he set a record of being the principal of the same high school for so many years. But Bob's passed on now. It'd be appropriate to have Bob Patterson Stadium and coach here named the field named after him. But I want to commend you, board members. You're doing a good job. I thought of you particularly doing all that COVID stuff. You and Dr. Nicely, and you're doing a good job overnight. I want to commend you for that. But anyhow, it's a pleasure to be here with the coach tonight, and son John was kind enough to bring me. To say I had my 90th birthday last December, so those years get heavy sometimes. but anyhow, I want to congratulate the coach and congratulate you all for doing this.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I know it might be out of line, but I'd like to say
Yes,
something
sir.
about
Go ahead, Mr. Ray.
Dr. Wilson.
Let him go.
I'd like to say this before we go through the sermon, not to take anything away from Coach Highfield. You deserve it by all means, but Dr. Wilson, when I was here going through Roanoke County's County Council of PTAs and being in charge of that with Marion Rourke and various ones, you were an institution, and I looked up to you, and you were an inspiration to me to continue on in the education field wherever I could. And I just, it is such a heartwarming thing to see you here tonight. And the things that you accomplished while you were superintendent of Roanoke County Schools is immeasurable. And you were so dedicated, and I really admired you, and I just wanted you to know that some of these folks, these are young folks who don't, but I do. I'm an older one here, so I'm the senior. But I do remember all that you did for Roanoke County. And thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, you're not as old as Mike, are you?
You see what I have to put up with?
We give him a little bit of a hard time being the senior member. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Taylor.
Thank you for allowing me to come and talk about Coach. I actually feel privileged. I've known Coach for about 8 years, and I want to talk about, all the wins, everything he's done for athletics at William Byrd. You've heard, most of you know, but I want to talk a little bit about Coach Highfield, the man, because I went 20 years law enforcement, and then I switched over to the athletic director. And I think every single day for 4 years, Coach Highfield stopped in my office. And he asked me the same 3 questions. Number one, how's your day going? And he let me complain, vent, whatever you want to talk about it. Sometimes he'd offer me advice. Sometimes he would just listen. The second question he would ask, can I do anything for you? And he truly meant that. Some people ask you that, but they don't mean that. He always said, what can I do for you? Every single day. And the third one is kind of what brings me that I thank him for, because it made me forget about question 1 and question 2. He said, how's your family? Every single day for 4 years. And we'd talk about my family. We'd talk about his family. And, one of the first things we found out is we got something in common is Coach married his high school sweetheart, just like I did. And, that was one of his biggest cheerleaders and still is. And when Coach retired, I tried to talk him into not retiring. I wanted him to stay, but because I was scared. I was afraid. And it wasn't because I was going to have to hire someone to replace a legend. It's because I thought I would not get any more of Miss Highfield's cake at Christmas because she always gave me a big plate. So, I can't say enough about him, what he did for me. He helped me through it, just like Coach Walthall said. He knew it. We never had to ask him for anything because he was asking us. He was always on time on everything, but he had a lot of experience. And, just for what he has done for the William Byrd community, I'm just honored that I can even speak about Coach Highfield today. And, and he needs that. He needs the field named after him. And, I appreciate you guys hearing us on this recommendation. Again, Coach, Miss Highfield, appreciate everything you've done for my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Greenway. Yes, sir.
Yes, so have a seat. I don't want you to stand too long.
He knows
there's
better.
so much to unwrap here, right? So I feel like it's a roast of Coach Highfield. But let me just say, if Coach Walthall would spend a little time on the golf course with you, when we go in January, he'd win more money. And I'll let Rudd take over from there. And let me just say to you that when we step into your office and ask you that question, you are going to be there a little bit because he's going to tell you what's going on. Jason's going to share with you what's going good and what's going bad. And then I'm going to say we were fortunate to have Mr. Patterson. His name was invoked. And Tammy, I think you do an excellent job for our community and for our school, and in the same vein of Mr. Patterson. And I really mean that. So, and to Coach Walthall, I've got you on my mind now here. Coach Highfield, I hate to say this, but, football really doesn't come to mind when I think of you the first thing. It really doesn't, because we've got a lot of, being a small community, we've got a lot of friends. You actually, I'm going to tell one on Coach Highfield. He actually came my senior year. So he looks younger than I am, but he came my senior year. And one of the biggest regrets of my life is, and Timmy Fouts will probably tell you this, is that I didn't play football. And I just spoke to him a couple days ago, and you can speak to anybody in our community that's played for you, and anyone that's been around that program, and the accolades that they give to you. And again, and I hate to say this, football is kind of secondary or maybe even third down the line, is a tribute to how well you're perceived in our community and how well the folks that you touched over those 38 years, they truly speak volumes. And Timmy Fouts is one of my very best friends, and he thinks of you as family. And I think you already know that because he wears his emotions on his sleeve, so he tells you that. And so for Miss Highfield, I know being a coach's wife has got to be an unbelievable, daunting task of, you feel the wins, the losses, the gripes, the good stuff, everything that goes with it. And so for 38 years, you've been right by his side. And I've heard your name invoked as much as Coach Highfield. So we are so fortunate that you are a part of our community and a part of our family in Vinton and William Byrd. And I think this is such a deserving accolade. And I'm glad you're here to see it and that we're able to share it with you. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Greenway. Yeah, Coach Waffle, or excuse me, Coach Highfield, I know the Vinton community is behind you guys. It's I've heard great things. Obviously, I'm an outsider, did attend Roanoke College, and I've been here for a number of years. So I've read about you. Had not met you before tonight, but I know that Vinton community is 100% behind this, and it's a great accomplishment. So to Coach Walthall, there is no such thing as too much time on a golf course. just to be clear there, but I'm excited that we're able to do this. We will need a motion.
Well, I'll certainly make a motion that we name the field after Coach Highfield.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Fachani,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ray,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations. Come on up.
One other thing I've learned about Coach Highfield over the years is that he hates stuff like this. But it's deserving.
Thank you all very much. I'm very humbled and honored being a graduate of Roanoke County Schools, and now having my name tied to William Byrd High School and Robert A. Patterson Stadium means a great deal to me. Obviously, those are two places that take up off a big part of my life, and some great times. Also, being a young 70 years old, I'm very aware that life is a team sport, and the great special people I've had that have taught me, mentored me, coached me, and in many ways carried me on their shoulders throughout my career and throughout life. I was fortunate enough that I had people like Dale Foster when I was playing for him at Andrew Lewis, and he has mentored me ever since. And then to come into Roanoke County, the administrators, I've worked, I think, for 6 different superintendents, starting with Mr. Wilson, who hired me, believed in me, hired me 81, all the way through Dr. Nicely. 3 very special principals at William Byrd, Mr. Patterson, Dr. Turner, now Mrs. Newcomb, who all gave me all the support I could ever ask for. And they all wanted to win, but only if we won the right way. And that fit into my philosophy. So we had a great time there. And then I had 5 special athletic directors during my time. The 2 tonight, you've seen Gary and Jason. I also had Mr. Blevins was mentioned. He was my first athletic director. Then Jane Lehman and Crystal Worley also. I had 5 there who, again, I worked for them, but they came to me like we were all one big team. It was always, what can we do to make your job easier? They were family. Certainly a group of men that became my assistant coaches and very quickly became and still are extended family. A lot of them spent so much time in my house that they helped raise my kids. And then hundreds of student athletes and their families who gave so much to me and my programs and supported us in so many ways and allowed us to be a small part of their life during those great high school years. And many of them, fortunately for me, beyond high school, have stayed very close. And then I've certainly been blessed within my family. I had two great kids. My daughter, who supported me through everything, even though she was a K-Spring graduated as valedictorian at K-Spring. And my son actually came to Byrd and played both sports for me and graduated as a valedictorian from William Byrd. Actually, after college, he came back and taught at William Byrd, taught math and coached for 7 years, both sports with me too, before going to the FBI. So much there. And then Katie's been mentioned. Obviously, the one person that's been through all of it, every step, every year. I had 38 years at Byrd. I had 45 years total of coaching. And she's been there every step of the way, every year, every season, every game, every win, every loss. She's made thousands of chocolate chip cookies and hundreds of cakes to give to the people at Byrd, to my coaches, to the players. She usually made treats for the players every year.
She would sew up game jerseys that got torn, sew up practice uniforms. Last 4 years, she served as my cameraman filming the games for us. So she's obviously been a big part of it. We started dating in high school as juniors at Andrews High School. She came at me with chocolate chip cookies and chocolate cake. And her personality, I didn't have a chance. She's been my best friend for 53 years since the spring of that year, and my wife for 48. So it's easy to see the people who came up and spoke why it was easy for me to succeed. There were so many people that were a part of this, and that's what this is about. It's a people business. Again, I thank all of you very, very much. This means a great deal to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason, picture. I just wanted to make sure you knew. I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Dr. Wilson, if Dr. Nicely misbehaves anymore, we may give you a call.
I think we ought to get one of Miss Highfield's cakes, even though we didn't get it tonight. Yeah, we ought to get it. I heard cake and cookies involved.
Favorite.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Amazing. It's gonna be 90.
All right.
I got that kind of mind when I get 90.
Exactly.
Remember?
All right.
John's one of my chairmen. Here you go.
He can still come in the back gate, Mr. Wilson.
Back in the 80s.
All right. Number 9, we do not have
70s.
any information agenda items this evening, so we will move on to number 10, report by the superintendent. Dr. Nicely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, just want to thank all the presentations this evening. We've had several, but and all the principals who shared. It takes so much time to put that together. Just very appreciative, and want to give a shout out to all of our nutrition managers and nutrition associates and the school lunch week, and appreciate Ms. Huffman's presentation. And just briefly, congratulations to Coach Highfield. It's a big honor. We don't do that very often. But actually, Superintendent Wilson, who just, like they said, turned 90 this year, and his son put on a big birthday party for him. And one of my prized possessions is a photo with him as well as Dr. Lang and Dr. Gordon as well. So all four of us got to be there together. So, and I was just sharing with Superintendent Wilson, reminding him that he was superintendent in 1993 when I was hired. So you can blame him. That's what I told him for letting me in. So. Congratulations to Coach Highfield. What a big honor. And I remember when Mr. Wilson, as well as Bob Patterson, when he was still living, came in to approach the idea and, explain what the policy was, and they followed the policy. And I'm glad to see all that come together. And it's just a big honor and something to celebrate. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nicely. Item number 11, reports and inquiries of board members. Ms. Fashani, we'll start with you this evening.
Tim? Well, because we're naming fields, I just wanted to mention briefly that I had the privilege to attend the Hidden Valley Middle School 50th celebration. Ken made it despite all the traffic. Mike was there as well, and it was a very well-attended event. It was an excellent event, and it was really a celebration of Ralph Russo's life. His family, I was watching them during the naming of the field, and I was very touched by the emotions that they showed, and I was able to express my gratitude to them, which I was thankful to be able to have the opportunity one more time. I knew him as my children attended Hidden Valley Middle School, and he truly was a remarkable man, and he will be missed. I also had the opportunity to golf with Tim in the Education Foundation golfing event. We had a great time. Kevin Tuck, the rumors are true. The man can hit the ball like nobody I've seen. And Dana Stevens, we just had a blast. She can hit a pretty darn good ball, too. And Tim, you're not so bad either, by the way. But we had a great time, and I think we said that we were all going to play again next year, I think is our goal. So it was a great event, and it was well-attended. It was nice to see so many Roanoke County folks out there supporting that. I want to talk briefly about an issue that I was having over at Hidden Valley High School, and thank personally Todd. I know you're here, Todd. I know you don't want the shout out, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. I don't know who hired this company, but a while back a company was hired to clean the bleachers following the I don't know, what you call it, refurbishment of the basketball court, the auditorium, the gymnasium. So long story short, the company that cleaned the bleachers, they did a terrible job. I went over to check on the bleachers and see how they looked, and I was really not thrilled. I talked to Todd, and I said, Todd, this really is unacceptable. And I think Todd thought I was exaggerating. And he went over and saw, and he said, whoa, this is really not good. So I said, I think we need to get this company back and have them do it again, because these are taxpayer dollars, and we need to make sure that people who are hired are doing the job that they signed up to do. They came back and they cleaned it again, and unfortunately, we were disappointed again, and they just had excuse after excuse after excuse, and it was not good. Todd took the bull by the horns, put in over 100 man-hours with 13 employees, I think, is that number, and the bleachers look brand new. They look brand new. Todd, I need the names of those employees that scrubbed so I can send them a personal thank you. Okay, all the warehouse employees, they worked their tails off, and they did a great job. They saved us a lot of money, and as school board members, I think it's our responsibility not only to work in the best interests of our children's education, but also to understand that we're representing our stakeholders' tax dollars, make sure we do the right thing. So I would like to request the name of that company so we can put them on a list and never use them again. I'd also would like to request that we try to get some of that money back. I don't know if we paid the invoice. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I know that's your territory, but I'd like to know if we actually have to pay them, or we can ask for some type of a discount, that you didn't do your job discount. We didn't pay it in full? Okay, all right, that makes me feel a lot better, because my AD did not know that. Okay, that's great. Todd, when you took this job, I mean, time and time again, you've come through. So I just want to express my thanks to you. keeping our facilities up to date and continuing to be a great communicator and getting the job done. I think I told you the one thing that I'm seeing as a parent and now as a school board member is the lack of respect sometimes by our students for our facilities. After games, there's trash. It's not picked up. Kids just leave and think that there's a maid that's behind them picking it up. And Ken, I don't know if this is my request to you in terms of our PBIS. What are we doing with our children and our students for good citizenship in that regard? And I'd like to see if we are doing that, that when they're at events, they're taking the time to respect the facilities, to clean up after themselves, because these are wonderful human beings who will be out in the world one day, and we need to prepare them to do the right thing. And if you see a piece of trash on the ground, even if it's not yours, you might want to bend down and pick it up. If you go to the movie theater, you don't leave your trash, you pick it up. These are things that we learned in kindergarten, but I don't know if it was over COVID or whatever, but some of our children are forgetting these basic things that we should do as good citizens. And with that, I just want to say I'm excited for BCAT. It was a great presentation. It was fantastic. It was great to see all those old faces. And I think we've got a lot great going on, and hopefully we'll get BCAT built. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Fashani. Mr. Greenway.
Yes, thank you. And so Ms. Fashani went first because she was giving a shout out to Kevin Tuck, which I can't believe I have to acknowledge here that he'll get this. But so we had a little I don't know, a little friendly banter, and he said, "I bet Cheryl outdrives you." Because y'all know I'm not great. I'm not great at golf. So Cheryl gets up there, and I said, "No way!" He had to talk a mean game whether you could play it or not. So she gets up there and she knocks one right out there. I don't know how far, but it was a great shot right out there. And I thought, all right, I can't let this happen. So I get up there and I'm, please God, you got to direct this ball. So, but we had a great time with the educational.
You need to tell them he outdrove me on that
and
hole.
so
It was videotaped.
So I got down and I hit the best ball I hit off. And it was I don't know, 200 yards, whatever.
It's about 230, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure,
so,
240.
And then, so Kevin congratulated me and said, "Man, that was, Tim, you really did outdrive her. Because Cheryl can play." And so I said, "Well, yeah, what'd you think? I wouldn't do that?" He said, but he took my ball, picked it up and threw it about 50 yards up. And he said, "But we're going to play mine." so but that was a fun day, the Educational Foundation. Sorry you couldn't be here, Chuck, but we had a good time and hopefully raised a good bit of money. So, Cheryl brought up too the BCAT thing. So we don't have another meeting until we have the joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors for BCAT, and I'm going to throw in the 2 elementary schools. So we're hoping to hear about funding, right? So I'm hoping that the funding comes up and we find out more about that. We're going to find out about the solar. So I hope everybody can stay tuned and stay connected. That is the 25th, I believe. We're meeting with the Board of Supervisors in a joint meeting. So, we'll see where we get to, but hopefully we'll know more about how they're going to provide funding. That's what I'm hoping. And then we'll also learn about the solar option, or will we go ahead and move forward without solar? That's the charge I think that we're going to find out, or at least, kick it down the road a little further if not. But hopefully we'll hear about that. So, great night. Coach Highfield deserves that field named after him. So many great names. Just wonderful to have everybody here. Coach Walthall, he's named for the baseball field and our facility. He resurrected our baseball program and had great years where we didn't have too many. He came right after I got. There's a theme here. They came right after I came through school, and then all the programs really did well. So, but he was great, and Bob Patterson, God rest his soul, was to have brought in Coach Highfield. And, he was a wonderful man, a wonderful human being. Anybody that knew him, and I had the pleasure of going to his office a few times, not under such good terms, and but he always sent me back out and said, Tim, you'll do better. I know you will. But Bob Patterson was a wonderful man. So good night for the William Byrd community in Vinton. And I thank everybody for making that possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Greenway. Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And with, excuse me, heavy heart, I bring a couple items that happened in our Cave Spring community. Within the past few weeks, we lost our coach, Askew, from our football team, Cave Spring High School football team. Went to the service that was held at Cave Spring High School. It was a very nice service. It was a lot of people there were talking and talking about how much Coach Askew was important in their lives. And I got to meet his daughter, who attends Cave Spring High School, and she's actually going to be on the well, we couldn't have a very good homecoming game last week with the rain, so we're going to do the homecoming court tomorrow night's football game at halftime. And Coach Askew's daughter is on the homecoming court. But while I was there with the memorial service, I was able to meet his daughter and talk to her, and she was surrounded by her friends. They were all with her. They were all sitting with her. And I told all of them, that's what this is about. This is the support that you're giving. It's giving her because she needs it at this time, and you're there for her. And you could see that they were just, they were comforting her, but they were her support through all this. So we continue to pray for the family to get through these tough situations. So also, I guess Monday will be 2 weeks. We had a family in our Clearbrook community that their house completely burned down. I mean, gutted, burned up. And it was a 7-family member, 5 kids, and grandmother and the mother. And the Cave Spring High School and the middle school and Clearbrook jumped together, and the principals have done a great job. They've got a GoFundMe page, which when I was at Clearbrook Wednesday, they had gotten up to $1,200. They were accepting gift cards, clothes, and anything. They were staying an extended stay, which was up this week. So they were fine. They were all the people that have gotten together. Really, community has come together to help this family. That's it's tragedy, but when people come together during these times, it shows not only the spirit but the quality that we have with our folks that are in the school system. They care truly about these families. They care not only academically, but what happens to them personally. And this was such an unfortunate situation, and they have stepped up. And, I had someone that came to me and knew that we were doing cards, and I was getting a card actually, and she said, I have some clothes right now. So she gave me 2 bags of clothes for the girls, and there was a son, and it's just really, it's a tough situation, but people pulling together for them. So anyway, I guess I'll be brief. And the other thing was we have 2 board members have birthdays in October, and so happy birthday, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
That's all.
You're just
Mr.
saying
Hudson.
that, Mike, so that we know that they're just 1 year older.
1 year closer to retirement.
One is 70 and one is 40. That's pretty good.
And I'm retired.
Not Mike today.
Not me.
Mr. Hudson.
Just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank Mr. Kish and his staff and the students. That was very impressive. Everything they do out there always amazes me. The programs that they offer, and the lady put it perfectly when she said they're providing useful and marketable skills to our kids. And that's why it's important that we get Burton built. And also, like Mr. Greenway mentioned, we've got 2 antiquated elementary schools that need to be knocked down and rebuilt. So looking forward to the meeting on the 25th with the Board of Supervisors. Hopefully they watched that presentation tonight, and if not, I know I'll reach out to Ms. Hooker and get her to watch, because it's just very heartwarming, and to see the enthusiasm in all of these students' eyes. I mean, if a student can find a passion, if we can find what their passion is, and that's what Burton does, and they can just be so successful at it. And the one young lady talked about an EMT, and I envision, well, she may be on an ambulance saving my life one day. You just don't know. I mean, they're doing great things, and like they were talking about with all of the jobs that they had gotten. The one kid with, I believe he said, the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, that's just amazing. The opportunities that are out there. We just got to find the students just have to find their passion, and we have to provide that for them to be able to excel. So I'm looking forward to that meeting. I'd like to thank Mrs. Huffman and the nutrition workers, like Dr. Nicely spoke about. My kids won't let me pack their lunch. So that's a testament to how good they do. And I think Cheryl had mentioned, you always see a smile on their face. They're always happy. I always visit the cafeterias when I go. I absolutely love those ladies. They do an excellent job. And I'd like to thank our clerks. A lot goes on behind the scenes that you don't really get to see, but they do a lot for us. So thank you for taking good care of us. And thank you to Commander Pasco in the back. He takes care of our high school, middle school, SRO division. Appreciate everything he does for us. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. I'll try to be brief as well, but I truly feel like it was such a positive and uplifting meeting this evening with those presentations, and from the Boys and Girls Club and what they've done and where they've been able to take that. And obviously the BCAT presentation was just phenomenal, I thought. So thank you for arranging that. I think it shows the leadership that we have here in our school district, and the things that we're able to accomplish, and the vision that our superintendent and his staff have of what is possible and where we can take this school district. It's just so encouraging. So October Bullying Prevention Month, and I just wanted to thank Dr. McClung, Dr. Stegall, Dr. Hughes for everything that they do behind the scenes. And it's I know that there's a lot going on, and you guys just do an outstanding job with that. So thank you for everything that you guys do. Wanted to thank Sheriff Orange and the Sheriff's Department for what they've been able to accomplish with our SROs and getting additional SROs trained and ready to be in our schools. I think they've done an outstanding job in filling those positions. So thank you, Mr. Hudson, and thank Sheriff Orange for that.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, since you bring that out, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
You may.
I think we're going to have a joint meeting. Could we ask about those SROs at that joint meeting, make that one of the topics?
We can look into that.
Why couldn't we? We're going to be all together.
Yeah. And we'll certainly have some time to do that. And then also, as Mr. Greenway and Mr. Hudson alluded to, I do hope that the Board of Supervisors members, if they did not watch tonight's meeting, that they will take the opportunity to rewatch that, and Tim's comments about what an asset Burton is for our community and job development, and we're getting these kids to be workforce ready. I mean, what we saw tonight, those kids, extremely impressive, and it speaks volumes to what we need to do as a board to make sure that we can make a new facility a reality. So with that, our next meeting will be a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors at 5 o'clock on October 25th. Meeting adjourned.